chess books. Well, if you're a chess player, you kind of have to love chess books. I did, for sure. When I was a young improving player, I just swallowed all the chess books I could find. And there was a Danish well-known master, Jens Enevoldsen, who said, next to playing chess, there's nothing as good as reading about chess. And a lot of people agree with that it is a joyful activity to read about chess. So today we're going to look at some chess books, and they're all by the same author, Carsten Hansen, Danish player. There are a lot of Hansens, so we're not related. I'm not related to Lars Bo Hansen or Kurt Hansen either. This is one of the most common names in Denmark. I'm not even related to Erik Hansen from Canada as well. But Carsten Hansen is a Danish FIDE master with around 2400 rating. I think he should have become an IM if he had put in the time and played the tournament, but he didn't. But he is also a well-known author of chess books, and he's been writing chess books all his life. He lives in the US, and I think he's got something like 30 titles to his name, and is one of the best-selling authors. And he's publishing them on his own publisher house, it's called, I guess. And that makes the price cheap. So they're not expensive, his books. And we're going to look at some of them. He's probably most well known for writing opening books. He wrote a very well known and extremely good book with Peter Heine Nielsen about the accelerated dragon. And I think, by the way, something was messed up with the royalty, so they didn't get any money for it, which was very bad, because it was an outstanding book. He also wrote a very good book about the English opening, I think in 3 volumes or something like that. I was not super enthusiastic about his book on the Nimzo-Indian E3. I think I had a feeling that I knew more about the opening than him, because I was also a big expert. So it was nothing that you could say there's something wrong. And Carsten Hansen is a very hardworking and he's not lazy in any way, so there will not be any glaring holes anywhere. But there might be slips, because if you write 30 books, you cannot test everything. Anyway, we're gonna look at some of the books he sent me. I think he sent me 7 books. Thank you, Carsten. Great to get new books. It's just this feeling when you get a new book in your hands. It's so nice. So I love it. Anyway, we're going to look at the first 3 are in Danish. So for the non-Danish audience, they're not so interesting, but the titles has also appeared in English. This is translation from the English. The thing is, when you're a small country like Denmark, you don't get many books in your native language. So it's very nice when someone translates books. So this is mostly for the Danish audience. Gonna see this. Oops, you can see it here. Panik og taktik i åbningen. Panics and Tactics in the Opening. And this is highlights from, he wrote 9 volumes about panics and tactics in the opening. This is the highlights from 9 of them. And if you're more interested in specific openings, this is D4, D5. Also Panics and Tactics in the Openings. And there, of course, also appeared in English. And this one is Panic and Tactics in the Opening with the Indian defenses, like Grenfell, Nimzo-Indian, Queen's Indian, and so on. And these books are about quick wins for one side in 15 moves or less. So something has to do something very stupid to lose. Sometimes it's very instructive. It's always entertaining, and even if it's boring, it doesn't take very long. Because with 15 moves, you don't even get to drink your coffee before the game is over. And of course, these are most for fun, but it also gives you an idea of what not to do and what to look for in your opponent's mistakes. So they are kind of instructive. I'm not sure I'm a great fan of this format, to be honest. But if you like to go through games, it's good. They're not very expensive, and And of course, you can see a lot of games quickly because there are only 15 moves. I'm a little more enthusiastic about the next one, which is something that has been missing for a long time, because I don't think there are any kind of book like that in English. There is one in Danish by Bent Larsen. Back to Basics Chess Openings. And this is a complete overview of all the openings. It's with opening principles, it's how to build a repertoire, it's which openings are for which players, it's the name of the openings, some of the historical background, some of the most important variations. Of course, you cannot build a repertoire on this one, but if you're a beginning player or you're just trying to understand what's going on, then you can look everything up in this book. So if you don't have, like I have, because I've been playing chess for 38 years and being very serious about it. If you don't have all the echo codes tattooed inside your head, this book is very good for you, because I'm gonna give it to my partner in crime on this YouTube channel, Lars Keelet, because he doesn't have this echo codes tattooed inside his head. Echo code are encyclopedia of chess openings. And there are like codes for A to 1 to A99, and this covers all the opening, and then B something. For instance, I will, if you just give me a code, and I can tell you which opening it is. But when Lars see something like E4 D5, and he says, what's this called? And I say, okay, that's the Scandinavian. But he doesn't know. E4 B6, that's the open defense, but he doesn't know that. So you can look that up. So this is for everybody who wants to get a quick overview of the openings, understand what's going on, and so on. If you're a beginning player, rated from say 200 to 1700, it's highly recommended. And it's inexpensive. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy all the books on Amazon, I think, or some of other chess shops, or maybe even from, I don't know if you could buy it from Carsten's own publishing house. Carsten also sent me an opening book about the Magnus Carlsen Sicilian, but I think we're gonna use that line for building an opening repertoire on GM Talks, because I think this is something we should have. An opening repertoire for white and for black, just to so that people who watch the channel get well equipped to play on a certain level in the opening. So you can look forward to that. I'm working on it. At the moment, deciding which line to include. It will be a repertoire based on 1E4. The last two books I'm going to show you are very helpful, and I highly recommend them. It's a book like this one, Chess Tactics for Improvers, Volume 1. This one, he's made many of these. And by the way, a lot of the tests, you can also, if you follow Carsten Hansen on Twitter, he have at least one daily puzzle. Anyway, when I open Twitter, there's always a new puzzle. So this is, and they are like this, and I like the format a lot. So I'm getting back to that in just a second. The other book he also sent me is Chess Tactics Volume 3. I think this is more difficult. I also think it's newer. And I like the inside settings better. It has the puzzles has ratings on how difficult they are. And by the way, they are pretty difficult. I think the one that's supposed to be quite easy as a grandmaster, I find rather difficult, and so on. Carsten does something a very good thing in these books, and that is he does not allow you to just give one move. You have to find sometimes a sequence of moves. Sometimes the best defense for you find the idea, but then you have to calculate maybe 3 or 4 moves. And why is that good? Because this is how we play chess. In real chess, you cannot just make one move and say your opponent probably is not going to resign. You gotta look one more move ahead, or 2 more moves, or 3 more moves ahead to see if it was the correct thing. And these books, by the way, are better, I think, much better than the one you find on the chess servers, like Chess24 or Chess.com or Lichess or Internet Chess Club and stuff like that, because I think they have a lot of glitches with their puzzles. There are many with too many solutions and so on. And there are some in Carsten's books, but it's not many. And I think it shows that he is very hardworking and trying to do a good job, and I think he kind of succeeds. So highly recommended for sure. And we're also going to see some examples from these tactics. Is one from each of the books I showed you. They're also, by the way, they're also in the show notes, so you can just look it up there. And in this position, it's white to move. And you had a long time to listen to me talk and looking at this position. So wow, how does Macovei win against Ciorgevean in Arad 2019? Well, if he had found this move, Black would have resigned, I think. But he didn't find this move. The thing is, there is a mate here, so you can't take the queen. Then it's mate. Okay. There's also a threat. You're also threatening this one and this one, because if the queen is taken, then there is a mate again. And if he castles, you just take the rook. So basically, and you can't move the rook because you take the queen, and so on. So basically, Black is totally lost here. He will lose a knight. White didn't see this. He instead played knight b7. And this was a mistake. Not a giant mistake, but if you can win in one move, it's kind of a mistake. And Black took the knight, not the other knight, that is made in one move, and there was a check. And here, and here, White could of course take the rook here and be an exchange up for 2 pawns. He would be pretty much clearly better because first of all, this pawn is weak, and second of all, the king is kind of bad, and the knight is a short range piece, and the board is rather open, so the rook will be strong. But you might be able to defend this. But there's one thing you should notice here that White seems to forget. That is, if you have these two here, then this is a problem. If there's a check here, a so-called back rank mate is possible whenever you have your pawns locking the king in. And White didn't see that. He played this move, which looked clever, because you cannot take the rook, because then you take back with checkmate. And you cannot take this one either, because oops. Yeah, now I showed you. So instead he played queen b6. By the way, he cannot take here because of the mate here with the queen. But instead comes queen b6, and suddenly it's all over because of the back rank mate, because you're threatening here with 3 pieces. He's also threatening this one, and he's threatening this move. So it's a total disaster. So you can't even take the rook, then you're back rank mated. So instead he gave a check, he took, it's a take, and here the knight is threatening. Again, the rook here is a problem, but there's also the other problem with the back rank. So you have to go queen b, rook b6, and after a4, 5, this pawn will lose White the knight. So Macovei, I think his name is, gave up. Okay, next game. But this was kind of the puzzles you find in these. And I'm curious. Yeah, it just changed. Good. Okay, this is Miljkovic, Dimic, and it's white to move, and it's again what do we see in this position? We see that at the moment the material is equal, but there are some things. We see that this is interesting, hitting this guy down here. But at the moment, black has a defense. Can you see what the defense is? Yes, 94. That was a lot of green arrows. And this gives you an idea. What if we remove the defense? Okay, let's calculate. Rook takes, rook attacking the bishop. Queen covers bishop, take, and at the end we have okay, let's see. So what do you do? Boom. If he takes back with the queen, you just take here and the bishop here. So let's see. This check down here is nothing. Just go here, everything is solid and defended, and you have got two light pieces for a rook, which in this position is very good for white, because the pieces will give white a great attacking chances, and it is a material advantage, because in a middle game, light pieces are usually way stronger than a rook. You need at least 2 pawns. Okay, so this is and you can't take back here because of this, and the pin costs black the queen for the bishop. Okay, so take back with the rook. Okay, now black has 2 pieces here. So what's the problem? The problem is after this, black has to decide what to do about the attack on the queen. You can go to g5. It doesn't change anything because we can still do this. And here, and the pin will cost black something. You just have to remember after this to do something like this. Okay. So here, and take, and here black resigned. After this move, he's just losing the queen. Great puzzle, and these kind of puzzles are really good to do, because this is the toolbox. You need to have these kind of lines coming sort of out of your fingers to be able to play at a high level. And in order to do that, you have to train them, and you cannot just stop training. You have to keep on practicing this stuff forever and ever, like playing the piano. It just if you don't do it for some times, you get rusty. And this is why books like this are very helpful, and you can bring them with you and do a little bit of puzzles every day and stay sharp. Anyway, I hope you liked this video from GM Talks about books, sort of chess book reviews, and this was featuring Carsten Hansen and a lot of his books, and you'll find him on Amazon. Thank you for watching.